Hey everybody, today we'll do another video, and today we'll do a graph of the number e that we did in C++, but I'm going to do this in MATLAB. So let's open MATLAB. Let's open a new script, and then it's in this new script we can start doing our code. This is going to be a quick video though. So now what we'll start off with a comment on MATLAB. We normally would put a little things like this, right? So it's a percent sign, and then we'll say this program will calculate the number e and display the graph. Right? So we do that. And then, we don't, okay, so, alright, so that's it. One thing in MATLAB, we don't have to do all the other stuff that we do in C++. We don't have to do all that. Directives and, include. But again, has plus and has a minus like anything else. If you ask me what is MATLAB, in school they teach you this, MATLAB stands for MATLAB laboratory, metrics laboratory, which is basically that's it. It's basically that's metrics. That's what MATLAB is good for. But if you ask me, I will say, hey, it's a giant calculator, right? It's just a calculator. You can program it to do different things. That's it. What language I would recommend for people studying coding? I would recommend C++. If you master C++, pretty much you master, you get to master all language. Well, except assembly language is going to be a little harder, but not a lot of people code in assembly language nowadays. It's just basically it's high level language like this. But anyway, let's go started. So, because Python is good too, it's long, but you don't let it bite you. Python is good. Okay. So let's get started. So in C++, we have to do like int, main and all this stuff. Over here, we don't have to. Right? So pretty neat. It's all like Python. But anyway, let's get started. So first of all, we need to declare some variables similar to what we did in C++. But we don't have to put like data types. In C++, you have to put double, float, integer, and over here, MATLAB can handle it like integers and floating values and double and yeah. Anyway, so let's get started. So what we will create, which is called an input for prompting the user, and that the same input is going to create, right? So yeah. So it'll be a number that the user will be entering, right? So we do that by set input. Remember in C++ with the cin, now we do input, and then right here put a parenthesis, And then open parenthesis and the prompt in the user. So I put quotation marks, similar. So I put enter, enter a number, right? Number greater than 0, right? So we do that. And then we close the parenthesis and we want it with a semicolon. Remember in C++, it is mandatory to put a semicolon. In MATLAB, it's not mandatory. You just do want to suppress that you have a bunch of lines generating when you run the code. Anyway, so let's do it. So we have that, right? Now we have the E, and E is going to be, now, in this case, because we're plotting E, we will be plotting E. So basically, what we'll need to do is following. So what we need to do is called line space, line space, and inside the line space, we need to put some values. So we will that it goes from 0 to n, right? Why n? Because we want it to be plotted to from 0 to n. So n is going to be the number that MATLAB will use, and also we can start at 1 because MATLAB also start at n anyway, but it's a good practice. Start at 0. It doesn't really matter. MATLAB is going to start at 1 anyway. But anyway, so now we do this, right? So now what is the next step? Next step is going to be creating some type of for loop. Remember, we did a for loop in MATLAB. So we do for, and MATLAB, you don't have to do all the bunch of crazy stuff, but you have to do some like this. So you do for, and then you put in the index. This is going to be the index. This is for this index, and it's going to be E. It's going to be N, right? The value of N. So for E, right? And then don't forget, remember in C++ we have to close the bracket for a for loop, and also you have to put a either plus plus and I plus plus, or I minus minus, or n plus plus, or n minus minus. In MATLAB, you're gonna do this n right here because you want to end the program. You want at some point you want to shut it off. You don't want to keep it looping for a long time, right? So inside here, right, is when we need some type of statements. So okay, so never mind. So after the for loop, you got to put an equal sign. In C++, you don't have to do this, right? But in MATLAB, you got to do that, right? Anyway. So, but this is a MATLAB tutorial, so basically, you just pay attention to what I'm doing here. So, okay, let's keep doing. So, let's do E, the formula, and it's going to do E1 plus 1 over n, right? And then here, this is the one of the things. So 1 over n, I guess it would be a good practice to do something like this. Like this. Like that. And we can close the parenthesis like that. And then what we do is basically, so we divide and divide that, and then we are going to be squaring that to the end, right? Now, now, so we have that, the formula. Now, remember, we had to do the trick that n minus minus, so we do n equal to n minus 1, which means I'm going to subtract 1 from n. Whatever n is n. Whatever the value of n is going to be minus 1 until you get to 0, or to get closer to the value of where n is graded, if e is greater or equal to n. But anyway, so, but because we know that e is going to be equal to some number from the beginning, it's going to be equal to, like a 2.73 something, right? But anyway, so let's get this, keep going with this. So now I'm going to put an if statement similar to what we did, if, and then inside this if n is greater than 0, right? Because that's what we said from the beginning, enter a number greater than 0. And then I'm going to add another n over here. And inside, and if n is equal to 0, then actually I should execute this. If n is equal to 0, then I execute this. Right. So if n is equal to 0, execute this. Else, 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 okay, so else I will do, if that statement is not true, else I say display DSP for display what? Display you enter a, okay, an invalid number, right? So number, all right, it goes with parentheses, and when you want to suppress that, okay. So um, okay, so let me just, it seems like you're having an indentation issue here. But anyway, okay. So let's keep going with this. Okay, so now doesn't matter. Okay, so let's. Okay. So now that I have this, right? So now what I need to do is plot. Need to plot. I need to plot. Okay, so first I want to hold on, right? I want to write hold because I want to hold out the graph on, and then I want to hold the graph so people can see, right? Then inside here I had to say plot this value, right? So what do I want to plot? I want to plot n versus e, right? I want the y values as e, and I want the n values as x. Now, here, I need to do something like this. So I need to put a single quotation mark like this, right? And I put two dash lines, and then I put BO, that will display a graph. And then I put A, right? I want to suppress that. Okay. Now, you can do a lot with um, and I will put this n up here because I don't want to. Okay, put the n right here. All right. So okay. So now, so right here, I'm going to put line with the comma, and I put inside this another set of single quotation marks like this, and I put line, and then with line width, right, like that, and we can select that the size number 4 for that. Okay, so now we need to display that, right? So okay, let's run it and see. Okay, we can name this as the number P. Oops. The number, let's call E. Save this. Okay, enter number greater than 0. Right? So let's try 1000. Right? So it's plotting, but it's plotting all the way down here. So excuse me. Okay. So let's see how we can fix this. Right? So it's plotting, but it's plotting all the way in the bottom. Okay. So we have to figure out why it's plotting like this. Okay, so okay, but it says you enter an invalid number. Okay, so and I enter a number greater than zero. If n is equal to zero, display this. Else, so if n is equal to zero, display this, right? Is greater than zero, display this. So, I mean, I don't think it's mistranslated the parentheses. Okay, so it is as you can see. So it's plotting everything in the bottom here. Okay, so the question is why, right? Why? You enter in the bottom number. Something is this program is something wrong with it, and let's go through. Okay, so if n is equal to zero, then display this. Greater than zero, display this, right? Else display display this. Now, if n line of space, the only thing I can think of is not understand and do the misalignment. But um, so let's fix this. So now, if n is greater than zero, one in MATLAB is also one anyway. But okay, that's goofy. Okay, it was understanding that it was starting at one. It was understanding that it was starting at zero, and MATLAB generally starts at one. Okay, so unless unless this is because okay, you enter another number. Okay, because MATLAB starts at one. Really? Okay. Okay. That's going to take a while. Okay, so take a while to do that. Okay. Okay, let's do this again. Okay. Now, we can see it's displaying the graph, and this displaying the graph as it's supposed to be. Now, let's get started with something like this. Okay, let us display the number E. All right, I want to show that one and the values. Okay, so you can see it's running, and MATLAB is running, and as you can see, let's start at this number. So it started at 2.71070, and should be that number right there. See that? So, okay, so, and I want you to kind of pay attention. Let's pay attention to what is going on here. So this is the graph for the exponential, for the E. So starting from here is plotting this. So, and then it goes N. I don't know if I should write this, but I don't know if I can write it, but it's going to, it's good, it's N, right? So N is 1,000 here. I'm sorry, in this case it was 10,000. So 10,000, and then 10,000, it will be 900. I'm sorry, 9,999 and minus 1, and so forth. And it's decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing all the way. But what was the first value when that number was that, right? Was this. So it was this. So now this is just decreasing. The value of that is decreasing, and minus 1 is decreasing, and the for loop is running. The for loop is running until it gets here, and then it gets here, and then it gets here, right? That's the whole purpose of this exercise. You can see this. So it's the graph has a peak a little bit after 2.7, and it goes like this. Now the question will be, okay, so what if you enter a million and a trillion, right? It's going to just take a longer to calculate. But at the end of the day, this is not going to make a big change. Eventually, it will go forever, and it will stay at value 2.718 and 3 and so forth and so forth. It will not go, this will not spike anymore. It will stay like that. What it will do is make it like a square wave, basically. So let's just make it 40, just to see it. Let's close that and let's run it again. So let's just enter a number that is 100, or maybe 10, just 10, and see what happens. See that? So 10 is making it, but the value at that point is only close to 6. Look at that. 2.6. Look at that. Now, but if I close this and I enter again, enter a number greater than 0, and I enter 100, or maybe, yeah, 100. See? It's getting more closely what it's supposed to be. See that? And over here we have a value of 2.7, very close. 2.7005, right? Now it's very closer to that number now, and it will just grow. And then if I do 100,000, see that? Very close. That's the number right there. That's the number that we want. So in that case, it's still running. Okay, I guess it's still running. Yeah, it's still running. It hasn't displayed the new graph yet. It's 100,000. It's 100,000 iterations. It's a lot of iterations. So let's wait. Pretty neat. Okay. So we'll wait for the graph, and it's going to display like it's going to display interesting. Okay, where the graph is at? Maybe it didn't display it. Still playing the points, I guess. Okay, so but you can see that MATLAB is always starts at 1. So in this case, we have a 1 over here, which it doesn't matter. And the last value is 2. Why? Because at the end of the day, you get a 1 from here plus another 1 from here. That 1, you cannot get rid of that 1. It was going to be 1 anyway, regardless. That's weird. Okay. Huh. Okay, so I guess and you can see the last value of E is 2. And that was because we had a 1 over here and then that 1 right there. But at the end of what it's saying is the value, it was decreased by 2. I'm sorry, it was decreased up to 2. That was the last value that was stored in that E. But anyway, so that's weird. Why is not plotting that? 20,000. Okay, and you can see it doesn't matter if you put like a million or 2 it's still it just go very close to that number. See that? Very close. See that? See the X value is almost 20,000 and the Y value is almost 271, 2.718, and then it goes 3 and it goes forever. Okay, anyway, so that is the number E. That is the number E graph. Okay, so let's test this curve by entering a number that is less than or equal to 0. Let's number, so let's enter a number. Okay, goofy. Okay, so you enter a number, invalid number. See that? Okay, okay. So now that's how you do this, right? So you enter an invalid number now. Okay, okay. So okay, that's it, guys. That's it for today. You can see, it's we plot a for loop and we plot the number that the graph that displayed the for the number E, the number E plot. Beautiful. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next video.